discard stage, how that feels, and what you will expect from it, and the kind of sort of transition from idealization, devalue and discard. And even though like some people may not have been discarded, so to speak, there'll still be like the kind of transition, the stages that you go through before you make the decision to leave your narc, so to speak. But in a lot of cases, narcs do the discard because they have to do the discard for their power and for their ego, because that's what makes them feel good. So in the discard phase, they feel like they need to be the one that's in control, because the narcissist is the one that has to be in control, and they need to be fed supply, and they need the power, the ego, the greed and the supply. And the way that they're going to do that, or one of the ways, is to be the one that's in control of the discard. So what will happen is, obviously you would have been through the whole idealization phase, and at this stage, if you know nothing about narcissistic abuse, you're not going to know that you were in the love bombing idealization stage of the relationship, where at the very beginning, this car's going to let me go, at the very beginning they will love bomb you. And at the beginning, as I said before, they do triangulation and they do all the other things, but you won't notice them so much, or it'll be kind of like a subconscious thing that you'll notice, but you won't pick up on it straight away, because you'll be drugged up by the narcissist to the point you'll be on narco drugs, narcane I'd like to call it, because they're already high on narcissist drugs, that they almost kind of like date rape you with dating drugs, but they hypnotize you with narcissist drugs in the idealization stage, and they use loads of tactics at the very beginning that you might not pick on sort of consciously straight away until maybe later on in the devalue and definitely in the discard phase. So what will happen, you'll transition from idealization into the devalue stage, and in the devalue stage what they'll do is they'll do several things, but one of the things they tend to do, it can be kind of a gradual, subtle thing, where they'll start to use put downs and things that they might have praised you for at the beginning. They'll flip it on its head and devalue you for, again, to get supply, to get power, and to be in control, because this is what makes the narcissist live. It makes them live, breathe, tick and stay alive, to get that supply from you and all that other supply, which is everyone that they interact with, whether it's small interaction or big, whether it's the neighbour's pet goldfish, your children or whoever. They will want to get supply out of you, and if they cannot do that, they will move on to the next person as quick as like, you know, taking a breath. That's how quick they will do it. So in the devalue stage, what will happen is they might sort of, in the idealization stage, they're obviously praising you, and you know, they might sort of say, like, for example, give you a compliment about your clothes or your style or how you dress. And for example, they may be doing all this kind of inviting you to weddings and getting you all excited about it, discussing how you're going to look the best and how what you're going to wear, and you know, like at the wedding, and they'll be sort of really kind of inviting you and taking you out, and you know, you'll be doing the same for them, and you know, encouraging them because you want to, from the heart, your actual heart. You'll be wanting to do it, but they'll be doing it for supply. So you know, all this is happening, and then in Devalue, what will happen? The things that they sort of complimented you on, they'll flip it around. Like, say for example, they said, you know, they've invited you to this wedding, for example, and they love your style, and they want you to wear that particular style of dress, like, because it's your style and you love it too. So they're encouraging that, and they're supporting it, and you know, doing all those things. But in Devalue, what will happen, that they'll want to be in control of what you wear. So they might start, first of all, they'll say, oh, can't you wear a different dress? Can't you wear a more floral or girly dress when your style is sort of more I don't know, like opposite to that? You're not like such a girly girl, but they'll do opposite. So what will happen is they'll do that, but then also it's almost like they'll make an excuse for you not to go to the wedding, and that they've invited somebody else instead of you, like a so-called friend in the Devalue stage. And this friend that they're talking about, who's only a friend, is in fact other supply, or most likely new supply that they are actually in idealization stage with while they are devaluing you. And then what will happen is, at the exact same time as pushing you through the devalue stage, they'll be idolizing their new supply at the same time to get both positive and negative supply, because this is a huge injection supply boost for the narcissist. So what they'll be doing, they'll be idolizing, like love bombing this new supply and asking them to the wedding like they used to ask you, and love bombing them on their style. But you wouldn't be aware of this because obviously you're like the only one, so to speak, because you're in a relationship with this person. And then they'll be turning around and subtly, and all of a sudden they might come out with, oh yeah, you know, say if you've got children, they might say something like, oh, can't you, isn't it really difficult to get your kids to be babysat? Or they'll come out with the most random things that you've already spoken about before, and that you can go, and you said that you were going to come, and that you need notice, like to get your dress and stuff. And then you might start showing them styles of dresses, you see. They'll be, oh, let me look, and you'll be showing them like what you're thinking about wearing to the wedding. They'll be like, oh, can't you wear something more like feminine or florally? And you'd be like, yeah, I can, because you're like cool like that, because that's your style. Like, you can like pull off any style, say for example. But really what they're trying to do is devalue, like put you down and control what you're wearing a little bit. Like maybe you're going to wear more of a sort of retro looking 1950s style pencil skirt or pencil dress to the wedding, with really cool heels, and your hair like really cool. And then they'll be like, can't you, like they'll kind of control what you're wearing a little bit. And then at the same time, all of a sudden they've uninvited you to the wedding, and they've invited, and they'll talk about like a friend who they haven't seen in ages, and you'll be like looking at them completely gobsmacked and completely beside yourself that you being their girlfriend or boyfriend, who's supposed to be like going to this wedding with them, and like you've done like all these things with them before, and then all of a sudden you're not going, and they're inviting somebody else, and this somebody else is a friend, but who isn't in fact their new supply, who they've been dating at the same time. And they're probably doing this with several people if they can get away with it and they have time, and usually they do have time, because their only time is dedicated to getting supply, because they are supply junkies. Anyway, so all this stuff will start to happen, and they might start in the devaluation stage, most likely. Will start to compare you and triangulate you even more with the other person. So instead of sort of putting you up above other people, for example, because in the idealization stage, they'll be compared, they'll be doing the same thing, but they'll be saying, oh, my ex was crazy, unlike you, blah 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 blah, to make you feel sorry for them in love bombing idealization stage. But in devaluation stage, what will happen, they'll say, oh, this person is so cool and so much better than you. So then they'll be putting you down and putting somebody else up to get a reaction, and you'll be like completely gobsmacked. I might not even know what to say, I might not say anything, and they want you to either not react to see what they get away with, or they want you to react to see how crazy you're becoming, because they think they're going to start telling you that you're getting jealous, or like, oh, they'll say that there's something wrong with you, when in fact it's them that's kind of putting you down and comparing you to somebody else, like a so-called friend, most likely other supply or new supply. So they'll do that, and also they'll do, in Devalue, they'll do a roller coaster of up and down. So they'll kind of like lift you up 1 minute and be really nice to you and give you compliments, and then the next minute, either in a group or on your own, they'll spin it again and be really sadistic, mean, put you down, insult you. They'll start using insults, and then they'll make out like you're insulting them, sort of thing. So basically, they'll do all that, and it'll keep going like up, down, and this is where you'll be really confused, because the ups will be really like high injections of praise, going out here and there, having a nice time, or maybe not going out so much because they're going out with their new supply or supplies to feed them that high of idealization that they're no longer getting from you, because they want that new high hit every